It's the 14th of September. I am Chloe Louise Wood and I'm with Leslie Nulty, who is playing the role of Rachel. I'm going to play the role of counsellor, and we will now begin partway through a counselling session. Rachel, how have things been with Mike since our last conversation?
Well, not really very good, because I can't shake the feeling that we've talked about, that I can't trust him. I'm sure that he's a lovely guy, and everyone tells me I'm crazy to think that he would ever cheat on me, but that's my worry. I feel if he isn't having an affair at the moment, that he will eventually. I don't know why I feel like this. Possibly it's because of something that's wrong with me, that I don't feel good enough, or that I think he's too good for me. But either way, I can't get rid of that feeling, and I feel that he must be having an affair. Recently he went away for work for a night, and I know he has to do that, and he can't help that. I couldn't go with him, so I just sat there all evening thinking that he must be with somebody else, that even if he is doing some business, that at some stage he'll meet up with someone, and normally he will message me if he's away, and or even telephone if he can, but on this particular evening he was a bit late messaging, and I had that awful feeling he's not going to get in touch, and it's because he's with someone else.
Have you found any proof of any affairs previously or currently? Anything, any documents or messages?
No, I haven't found anything. I've not come across anything, and I have questioned where he's been, and I know these are genuine occasions when he's gone somewhere on business, and people say I'm crazy to even think about it, because he wouldn't do that, but I still can't shake it.
Okay. Have you ever considered where these thoughts are coming from? Particularly, can you remember anything that you experienced in childhood that would relate to perhaps a partner cheating or something similar?
Well, no, my dad was a quiet guy, but he would never cheat on my mum, and I don't think he ever did. Not certainly to my knowledge. I can't think. The only cheating I can remember was once when I was quite little. I came home, and my auntie and my cousins were there at my house, and it turns out that it was because my uncle had cheated on my auntie, and he'd left for another woman, and so they all came to mine. My auntie was really distraught, and Mum was upset too, and I was sent to another room with the cousins, but they were very sad, and it seemed so awful at the time. And then they actually stayed several months at our house, because we had the space for them, and Mum felt she needed to comfort my auntie, and I kept seeing my auntie crying a lot, and Mum also being upset that she was upset. The children weren't themselves, and I didn't feel I could help them really, because they were a little bit younger than me, but I couldn't see how I could help at all. that made me feel awful. And basically, I felt really bad, and I remember lying in bed at night feeling really sad. Sad for them, particularly, but also for myself, which might sound crazy. But I really liked my uncle, and he seemed such a lovely man and a lovely dad. And before this had happened, I could never have imagined him leaving them. And so, you know, maybe that's, I suppose it's quite possible that that could have stuck in my mind. I hadn't thought of it until now at all. I've never made any connection between anything in my past and what goes on now between me and Mike. But thinking about it, I suppose that was a very bad time for me, and I do remember it being dreadful.
How did you feel at the time about relationships? Did it make you feel differently about them?
Well, I do remember that it made me feel very shocked that, like I said, such a nice man and a good dad could do something that upset them all and broke their family up. And although I haven't really thought about it since, I don't remember ever thinking back to that time. But yes, I think it obviously must have put an imprint in my head that maybe things weren't as they seem.
It sounds like this occasion has been in your subconscious, and perhaps it's been impacting on your present life. Do you feel that Mike reminds you of your uncle who left?
Does he remind me of him? Well, in a way, yeah, because Mike doesn't very often express his feelings very openly, and he seems to just get on with everything, and he doesn't seem phased, he doesn't seem to get upset, or if something's worrying him, I might have an inkling that something's worrying him, but he never really shares that. And I think my uncle was like that, because nobody had a clue that he was unhappy in his marriage. And yeah, it's quite possible that there are similarities. I can see they are actually quite alike.
Do you think that you're putting your feelings towards your uncle and what happened onto Mike?
Ooh, I would say I hope not, but then thinking about it, there's every possibility I am, because I often feel like I'm causing arguments or bringing things up that Mike has no clue why I'm feeling that way, and it's because of that niggling feeling that he will sometime, if not now, have an affair and leave me. So yes, I suppose so.
Has being engaged affected how you feel about things, and do you feel any better since then?
No, initially yes. Initially it was wonderful, and I felt reassured and loved and all of that, with good reason. Like I say, Mike's a lovely man, and I did feel very lucky that he'd asked me to marry him. But going further forward, I think in a way things have actually got worse, because now I'm getting more and more involved with that awful feeling that it's too good to be true, and something will break down in our relationship, and that he will have an affair. And like, as I mentioned, when he goes away, I worry, and quite often I have bad dreams. I will eventually get off to sleep when he's away overnight, but I have bad nightmares which wake me up. And in those dreams, it's everything that I am dreading. He is having an affair and I see him somewhere with someone else.
Right.
I see that they have sex and it's so upsetting that it does wake me up, and then sometimes he doesn't have the opportunity because of his business to ring me until quite late on at night. And one night he rang after I'd woken up from one of these dreams, and I felt myself feeling a great anger towards him that was unjustifiable really, but it was real. Because the dream had felt so real. And then I find it hard to be nice and react to what he's saying to me in a nice way. And it goes on. The next day I still have that awful memory of the dream that felt so real.
And do your dreams ever remind you of what happened with your uncle? Are they similar? What happens in them?
Well, yes, there are obvious similarities, because there's an affair and he leaves me for another woman, and it all seems so real.
Okay. And you've described to me that you feel maybe you say things and it causes negative feelings between you. And do you feel a slight bit like you're sometimes pushing him away or challenging whether he is genuine?
Yeah, he doesn't tend to rise to me taunting him really, and so he sort of tries to calm it down and cuddles me, says, it's okay, don't worry, whatever. And then afterwards I think, why did I do that? Why did I react that way? Because it is going to push him away.
Okay. Have you ever considered that perhaps your actions could be a defence mechanism? That maybe you're pushing him away in a way to avoid being hurt, like your auntie was when your uncle left during your childhood?
It's possible. It seems so justifiable when I do it that I've never really questioned it. But thinking about when I have said something to push it for a response or for a reaction, I think possibly in my head I can imagine that scenario would happen, whereby sometime maybe in the future when we've children, it would be me, I would be the auntie and my children would be those cousins, and we would have to seek solace from someone else in the way that they did.
I think it's really important that we've established the trigger for these behaviours, and that comes, it's apparent in the dreams, Rachel, and from what you've said, it's from your history and your childhood, and that's impacting your ability to have a relationship now as an adult. But now we know about that, something we can do going forward is to delve deeper into the past and look at these tensions within your ego and how we can work on the defence mechanisms and minimise those going forwards.
I think that would be good, because it's not Mike's fault, all of this, and I know now that so much of it is how I'm behaving, not actually how he's behaving.
Indeed.